Don't wait, delegate. Ownership. I want to talk about how we create more leaders in our organization to release some of our ownership and pass that ownership on to others. Creating a culture of independent leadership. I'm Natasha Saavedra. Let's get started. The bottleneck problem. If growth feels stalled, it's rarely a lack of talent. It's usually a congestion of decision-making at the top because people haven't been granted permission to be great. The decentralization mandate, growth limits. If everything runs through you and by you first, growth will always be limited. Your bandwidth becomes the entire constraint of the organization. And how exhausting is that for you? I have been there. This is why we want to delegate and create more leaders around us. So it's not like, for me, it always felt like, mom, mommy, tosh. That's too much. So as a leader, our job is to create other leaders. So everything isn't coming to us and through us, every decision of the organization or business. To scale, you must move away from personal oversight and toward a model of distributed responsibility. This is why we tell you to create a company organizational chart, have managers and leads in place so you can start delegating some of your responsibilities down. Ownership versus dependence. The dependence trap is this: a culture where people check every decision with you or by you. It creates safety, but it stifles the initiative and it slows down progress significantly because then they blame you. Well, we were waiting for you to give us the approval. Let's not go down that road. Let's go to the ownership culture, a culture where people think for themselves. You've granted them permission. You have policies in place, the rules of engagement, how you can do it, what their limit of authority is in that area. Policies and procedures, standard operating procedures will help you to delegate and trust that that person's going to do it exactly the way that you would. They are empowered to create, solve, and lead without constant verification. This is so important. You have to grant people permission to fail, which will also lead to success. Failure is our best lesson. When something bad happens, you go, oh my gosh, I'll freak it out. Guess what? They'll probably never do that again. So give permission to make a mistake, but also give them permission to be successful and take it and run with it. The best leaders create a culture where people think for themselves. Our jobs as leaders is to create more leaders. There's nothing more exhausting than to be the head honcho, the main person, because everything is going to come through you, by you, and from you, and that's exhausting. So we want to talk about output, distributed versus centralized. Obviously, when we look at the ownership model, people can take certain areas because they operate from standard operating procedures and policies. They can multiply the efforts that one or two people can do. Now you're having your whole team do it. This is what puts you into that scale model. The 4-step cycle. Delegation isn't about dumping tasks. It's about a disciplined process on how we transfer responsibility. This is a big mistake leaders make. Don't just dump something on somebody. Give them a couple of verbal instructions, because we talked about that in another practice training video, that 93% of communication is nonverbal. So don't be talking at people. Make sure that it's written. Make sure that they have understanding and can give that back to you in the way that you told them. So don't dump things on people and assume that they're going to get it. They're not. And they may be paralyzed by fear to make decisions because they weren't granted that permission. We move from total oversight to radical ownership in 4 distinct phases. The first one is assign. Choose only one, okay? Not say, oh my gosh, here's a list of things I've been wanting to get rid of. Here you go. No, we don't do that. We choose one thing or decision or responsibility that we're going to delegate, and who is going to have ownership over that. Then we train. We have to equip the person with the context and the skills required and the exact how-to. This is where your standard operating procedures come in. You train them on that, and then you audit it. So once you train them, you apprentice, and then you audit. We verify competence and confidence levels, and that usually comes with a check sheet. Show me how to do this. Show me how to do this. If a person says this, how do you handle that? Check, check, check. So you know that they have competence, and you'll know they have confidence in the way that they communicate or execute the task. Then the last one is own it. Let them own it. Let them fully own the outcome and the process. Remember, you're giving them leeway to have failure because that's going to help them to continue to learn. The audit variable. So 2 mandatory checks, competence and confidence. I kind of touched on that in the last slide, but I want to reiterate that. Before you let them fully own it, you must audit 2 areas. Competence, do they have the technical ability to do the task? Have they went through that with you? Do you have a checklist? If you need a checklist, let us know. We can help you with that. And then confidence. Do they trust themselves to handle the outcomes? We do this by scripting, by drilling and role playing, by drive-by drilling. You guys have heard me say this before in other trainings. Beep, beep. Hey, a person comes in, they say this to you. How do you handle it? Their ability to communicate that to you with no lags or that shows you the level of confidence that they have in that. So don't forget to check competence via a sheet and showing practical and actual task, and then confidence. How do they communicate it? How are they able to answer the questions? Training for transfer. Transferring knowledge. Training is an investment that enables delegation. Explain the why behind the how so they can troubleshoot independently. They'll still come to you occasionally, but the less and less, and the more you empower them, the more they're going to handle it on their own. This is going to give you the ability to scale, have executive freedom, open more locations when you create more leaders. This is your best investment. So effective training results in a team member who can think for themselves, who has been granted permission to be great and permission to fail on occasion, because that's where we're going to learn from. The end goal, full ownership. Let them fully own it. Once the audit is successful, your involvement should cease. Now you move into a coaching role. They own it. They're the top player. You go in and coach. What does that look like? Coaching, apprenticing, apprentice, drill, role play, audit, check competencies. Apprenticeship is a lifelong thing. For as long as they work in your company, we should always be working on apprenticeship. This is one of the biggest things I see in businesses. You stop pouring in to your people. This is important. It's so expensive to try to replace a person. Everybody wants to feel valued, heard, and understood. Everybody wants to feel like they're continually learning and growing within your organizations. That's one big reason why people leave their position, is because they feel stuck or stagnant. They're not learning anything. It becomes a rat wheel. I know I left one of my favorite offices. I worked in 10 years, but I just felt like there was nothing new. And I'm a person who likes to learn. So let's create that culture of learning and growing and moving into leadership in your organization. This is how we build a legacy of leadership, not a silo of management. So again, the weekly mission is this: assign, train, audit, pass off ownership. Pick one decision today, start the cycle, create a new leader this week, and continue to apprentice them. Many of you guys are like, oh my gosh, I'm holding too many things. I just need to offload it. Do it in the right way, or becomes even worse. At least when you had it, you can control it. When you dump it on somebody else, You're not controlling it anymore, somebody else is. And if they don't have the right tools, it's going to cause a mess, and it's going to take you more energy to do that later. So please take the method that we've shown you today. Any questions? We'd love to hear them. Please leave a comment. We'd love to help and support you. We only know how to do that from the feedback that you give us. Be blessed, be a blessing, and we'll see you next time.
If this helped, give this video a like and share it with someone who needs this.